there was absolutely a historic peace deal that was put into place that I personally am happy to see happen. Now, many people around the country noticed as some of the Jewish individuals were reunited with their children. Here's a video that is not staged, from my understanding, and is legitimate, of a father being reunited with his son who has been in captivity in Hamas territory for 2 years. Check this out.
אבי, תסגרו. בואי מירי. גם.
אז רגע, אני אשים את התיק פה, כאילו?
שימי, שיהיה לך נוח אחרי זה.
זה בסדר נשים פה? אפשר להיכנס? בואו. אבי, להשאיר את ה...
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו והגיענו לזמן הזה. לשמחה, חיים שלי, האור שלי, הלב שלי, די, זה מאחור, אין כבר. נשמה שלי, שנתיים, יום, חיים שלי, כפרה עליך, הלב שלי, חזר לי החיים.
All right, Gerald, let's start with a positive note here. I mean, I know that, people, there's a lot of contentious stuff we're going to talk about because Trump's speech was contentious. It was very odd. A lot of things were said. Very strange. However, before we talk about Israel's golden era or golden age, which he said is about to come into fruition, let's celebrate full fast a peace deal. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, this father's being reunited. Palestinian parents are being reunited with their hostages. And I mean, hey, I think this is a damn good celebration, a time to be happy to be an American and to do some good in the world.
Yeah, look, when there's conversation about the Middle East, Israel, Gaza, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, all of those, it's usually pretty sad conversations. It's usually conversations about war, pogroms. It's conversations about the Nakba. It's conversations about, just terrible, terrible things throughout history. Today's a good day. Today's a day where at least hostages were reunited with their families on both sides. People that were maybe never even charged with crimes, I think, in Israel, or certainly never convicted in a lot of cases that were being held. They obviously got a very good exchange rate, I guess 100 to 1, around 2,000 people coming out of Israel, around 20 people coming out of Gaza, kind of being returned to their families. And that's something that should be celebrated by every single person involved, no matter what side you're on, no matter if you've been out there screaming genocide or screaming Israel first. It doesn't matter. Everybody should be pretty happy with this. And I know that this is fragile. I know that there are a lot of opportunities for this to fall through, for fighting to start all over again, for Israel to screw this up, for Hamas and Gazans to screw this up. I have no kind of myopic view of this, but today is a good day for every one of those people that are involved, and for both people groups in general right now. So let's see if it lasts.
Yeah, I agree. And you guys can, if you put this video on the screen here, while we're talking, there's no sound on it. You guys remember that just a little while ago, Trump had been given a golden pager by Bibi Netanyahu, which was definitely a strange gift. I only bring that up. I'm gonna see if we can move on. Oh, there it is. Here it is. So he gave him this golden pager. You can bring that up here, right there on the left. That said, "Press with both hands to President Donald J. Trump, our greatest friend and greatest ally, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu." But that's not the end of the golden gifts. This is not a joke. This is not the end. What else was he given? He was given something else, right?
He also was given a golden dove. I believe we have the photo of that as well.
Let me bring that up here for a second. Yeah, check that out. He was given a golden dove. We can zoom in.
Jeez.
This is probably not necessary. You know what I mean? Like, I think the U.S. taxpayer would have said, thankfully, we're not spending another $15 billion this year on that war. I think we don't need any more golden objects. Maybe less Patriot missile systems that we're giving to you. But I mean, look, this is unprecedented, and I know we're we're going to disagree probably, or maybe even agree on Trump's speech. But I think Hennessy, it's like peace was reached, and at least for the moment, while Israeli tanks still did fire on Palestinians during the ceasefire, it does appear the war is over. But I'm gonna bite my lip because I don't. I'll bite my tongue when it's like a month or two, right? But I'm
Yeah,
gonna bite my
yeah.
lip now and just hold on because it doesn't feel like this ever lasts.
Yeah, I mean, I really do hope it lasts. You know, what's been going on in the Middle East is terrible. It is a good day, though. You know, seeing the hostages released, seeing, you know, the families being reunited, that is something beautiful to see. But I still am a little bit worried. I do hope it's able to continue. I do hope that, you know, we don't continuously get pulled back into these wars. It's kind of sad to hear that they started bombing again, but I guess the same thing happened with Iran before. But this time, maybe, guys, this is the time. Trump said he stopped World War III, so let's hope it's right. And yeah, I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah. What? Okay, Gerald. What do you mean by that? Because let me play this clip here for a second of Netanyahu thanking Trump on the historic peace deal. And I'm going to make a comment. I want to see what you think because he did say he stopped World War III, and that would probably imply that, like, you know, World War I was caused by a false flag, or at least that's what we know, right? An assassination caused that, and then we know that World War II technically. Well, we would disagree on what caused World War II, but let's just say,
come on.
let's just say, all white people lost World War II, right? Our countries have not gotten better since the British Empire fell.
Could have gotten worse.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know. I mean, look, I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know what's true anymore. But all I know is World War III. We don't want that. I don't want a World War. We know that. We don't. We didn't want World War II. Okay, and we don't want a World War III. So here's what Netanyahu said in Jerusalem. Check this out.
I have to tell you, I've seen a lot of American presidents. I've seen them all in the time that I've been here, and I've been here quite a lot of time. I've never seen anyone move the wheel so quickly, so decisively, so resolutely as our friend President Donald J. Trump.
Look, I like to see our president get applauded. I'm happy about that. I did say that the hotels in the area were all competing to see who was going to offer the room for Netanyahu and Trump. You saw the way he's looking at him. They all wanted to get the room for them because they were like, "Can you finish it here?" So I don't know what they did after in the back of the green room. No disrespect. It's 2025. It's very popular to be gay in Israel, so there's nothing wrong with that. However, I just feel like sometimes as we're going to see that our politicians care more about moving the needle for Israel and that they're able to do more to help Israel and quicker than they are here. And I don't know if it's for any other reason that due to lobbying, the Uniparty does agree to allow to send money, arms, help, aid to this country because there's universal bipartisan lobbying that it's easier to get things done for them than it is for us because the sides are so opposed here, but when it comes to the Israel issue, they're so aligned. Now, the left, the actual leftists are not pro-Israel, but the establishment DNC is less than it was, but it's still very much bought and sold for by a few different people, including AIPAC. Gerald, what do you think about this with Trump ending this so quickly? You know, we're unable to deport people at the numbers that we need to here in the United States. Inflation is still out of control. Housing market is untenable. But yet, you know, we're able to find money, weapons, and, you know, broker peace for Israel even before we were able to do so for Ukraine, right? So that's kind of crazy. So I don't know what you think about that, but it is interesting. It's good, but it is interesting.
Yeah, so look, I mean, I think the premise has a couple of things that maybe I would disagree with. I understand that we want to deport people. We're doing, I think, a pretty good job of doing that. I think as of last count, we're probably over 2 million people through self-deportation and also, yeah, fantastic news. Through self-deportation and also through kind of forced deportation, like, hey, you shouldn't have been here in the first place. Those numbers are rookie numbers. We got to pump those up. I definitely agree with you guys on that. But that's a pretty good start. Making the border go from, you know, these giant numbers where we're going to be okay with 4,999 crossings illegally per day down to, hey, who knew we could actually just close the border and seal it up and have virtually zero illegal immigration into the country. I think we've made a lot of progress there. I understand that we want inflation to kind of curb. We want prices to come down. We want a lot of the things that we've talked about as conservatives to happen, but those things take some time. And I think he's made a lot of progress there. He's rebalancing trade throughout the world. And I understand when it comes to Russia, Ukraine versus Israel and Gaza and Israel, pretty much anybody else in the Middle East, it seems like heaven and earth gets moved. Well, I think it's probably a lot of the public pressure that gets put on it. We're talking about it. It's been one of the hottest conversations amongst people on our side, on the left, on everywhere in between. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on politicians and it forces them to act. I think he would love to be at reaching peace with Putin and Zelensky. I just don't think that there's really a scenario where either one of those guys wants to give up yet. And I think there was an opportunity and he took it with Israel. And I'm fine that he moved it. But listen, Elijah, this is one of the areas that we will agree and disagree. Probably not viciously or violently, but at least in some substance. I will agree with you that I hate the optics of stuff like this. It just looks bad. It looks in some cases like the president is doing the bidding of a country that really economically, size-wise, population, contributions to the world is insignificant on the planet. And that's okay. That doesn't make me somebody who hates the Jews. I'll probably offend both groups equally tonight, and that's, sometimes the goal. Um, but it is nice for them to at least say thank you for the $30 billion that we have spent since the beginning of this war and the $3 billion commitment we've made to them. And I think somewhere around $300 billion we've given them since they were founded as a nation after we kind of said, yeah, y'all should just be a country. And it's nice to see him like him. I just don't want that relationship to be too cozy. I want them to have a little bit of fear that Donald Trump is not going to do what they want. Shouldn't that be what every single country we deal with has? That fear that America is going to do what is right for Americans, regardless of the relationship that they have with you? That should be
But
how
they
things are.
don't.
And some of the things in the speech, no, I know.
They
And
don't,
that's
and you
where we
know
agree.
that. Look at this is what's happening. And I'm telling you this, and I say this respectfully. A lot of people who thought I was nuts on this issue and have since I first got in trouble with Mark Levin and stuff back at Blaze for bringing some of this up about CPAC in 2021 being funded by Zionists and the problem with our party being operated by this foreign lobby group, and even being called an anti-Semite, being blocked from my Newsmax appearances or my Sky News contributorship because I didn't support the war. Years later, people that thought that I was some vitriolic anti-Semite are like, wait a second. They start rubbing their hands together. It's not even me. You're like, it's got these Christian people being like, maybe this guy's actually correct. And it's not about being anti-Semitic. It's not about hating Jews or anything like that. Maybe that is weird, right? Like, what is weird that this country has so much power? That is strange, And then if it is strange, then it doesn't even make sense how, unless there was some very dark tactics that were being used, because it's impossible through military force, impossible through even financial ability. There's got to be something. And then when you realize that a lot of the first war, when they had the war in Israel against the 7 nations around them in the late 1940s, upon their inaugural formation of the nation state of Israel that we call Judea or Israel, when they had that war, what happened? Well, what happened was there was a lot of rich businessmen and industry leaders who were Jewish, who then supported the war, and also kind of started. That's when a lot of the blackmail started. Threatening to shut down industries, to fire, to cause layoffs. They started pushing politicians in the states to support the war, right? The United States to get involved.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You and I are having this conversation where
it's true.
Maybe even at one point you thought I had gone off the deep end. Maybe you still do think I've gone off the deep end.
No, I mean, the shallow end, you're kind of swimming towards the deep end, but you're treading. No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't think you went off the deep end, Elijah. I think that a lot of people lean a little bit too far into topics like this and do cross the line into if all things being equal, it seems like you just don't like Jewish people in general. I don't think that's you, and I don't think that's people like Dave Smith or Tucker Carlson or anything like that. I think they've made that very clear. I think when people get called anti-Semitic, it's just like when conservatives got called racist. They did it to shut us down and to shut the conversation down. It's like, well, I'm not a racist, but guess what? You've called me that for about 10 years now, no matter what I do. So I don't care anymore if you're going to call me racist, right? So people, I think, have leaned into that. There are, by God, anti-Semitic and white supremacist people out there. Trust me, I know. It's fine. I don't agree with those opinions, but that is not the majority of the people talking about these issues. Let me go back to what you said about Israel and influence. Yes, even before 1948, they were very good at influencing people and getting what they wanted. So here's the problem that we're left with. Are we mad that Israel's just effective at lobbying? No, you can't be mad. I would be lobbying if I was Jewish or if I was Russian or if I was Chinese, any other nation. I would be lobbying to make sure that my country, if we weren't in a dominant position and we didn't even have a nation state at the time, I'd be lobbying to try to get all kinds of protections, because you have to understand what was going on. It doesn't mean that it's okay, but it at least means that it is a reasonable thing for them to do. They were being killed in pogroms all over Europe. This had been happening all the time, and they're not the only group that was targeted. So let me be clear there. There are other issues that were happening in Europe, but if you're a people without a nation and you basically don't have any protection, your only protection is to really make sure that the people around you, the states that you're in, love you. That's really hard. They never succeeded fully at doing that, so they started to control industry. And they got very good at lobbying people around them through coercion and threats. Now, here's the problem. Tucker said this in his monologue just the other day, and I agreed with it 100%. I don't fault them for negotiating well or lobbying well for their interests. I fault the politicians for listening. When it's not in our interest, we don't do it. That's it. Very simple. I don't think we should be funding Israel's defense, period. I think AIPAC has to register under FARA or something like FARA. I get it. It's individuals, but it's not the same thing, period. That doesn't make me anti-Semitic. That just means, hey, listen, you guys exist because we allow it. No offense, but let's make sure the relationship's on the right page here. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm going to go out and every single boogeyman story that's out there is the Jews' fault. That's a very dangerous place for us to be. For me as a Christian,
I like to live
I know you're looking around for that.
No, I'm totally joking. No, I know what you're talking about. There are people out there that just genuinely like they can. It's actually beautifully done. It's an art. That's what we call it. We're gonna start calling them artists. They are polemists and they can find a way to blame Jews for everything, including I said something that some white nationalists didn't like yesterday. And then they came up with this whole family tree that they researched that my great grandma's name was like Pauline Schoenberg, and like this whole thing. And I was like, guys, you know, you just didn't like my opinion. It didn't have to be that I'm secretly a Jew, but like that is
that's always what it is.
Yeah, there is that. But at the same time, let's just say it's not always them. But it's usually one within a person of proxy to when you're looking.
It's like the Kevin Bacon thing, the 2 degrees of being a
like,
movie Kevin Bacon.
It's not always. And you know what? And I also want to throw this in there. I definitely think that a lot of people, I think that we have a bigger problem with downplaying bad Jews doing things. I think we have a bigger issue with people downplaying that than people looking for that. Mm-hmm. However, we've got to admit there really is just a lot of them that need to be held accountable, that are hiding behind the anti-Semitic label, that are avoiding criticism, and that are operating in a racist capacity to where they think, you know, that we're cattle and they think they're superior. And I want to play this clip we played at the beginning. We got to talk about the fact that there's a lot of racism that's come from these people due to teachings of religious superiority that's un-American value. Okay, that's not an American value. You're not better than me. I'm not better than you. You know, we need to understand if we're going to be in a meritocracy, then we've got to promote that and not say, well, white people can't associate with white people and white people can't be proud to be white and Christians can't think they're better than other people, but Jews can. Mm-hmm. And I think that's that hypocrisy paired with this, which is, I want to talk about his speech. I want to go into Trump's speech here. He said some crazy things, and I want to get your take on this, Hennessy, when we come out of this. His largest donor, Miriam Adelson, who's worth more than $60 billion, he claims, and is the largest single donor to the Trump campaign, last Trump campaign. Trump also famously said back in 2016, when Marco Rubio, was it 2016 or 2020?
I think it was 2016, yeah, Marco Rubio.
What happened there? What did he say?
Small hens.
Yeah, it was when he was calling out Marco Rubio for having a relationship with Mary Adelson and collecting the money and can't be trusted as much, pretty much.
Yeah, you can't trust people who take her money.
Yep.
And now Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State, and Adelson is now Trump's love interest. Check this out.
But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That means, that might mean Israel, I must say. But I actually...
So like, and this wouldn't be a problem. This wouldn't be a problem if he was like, oh, and by the way, Miriam, as the president of the United States, like a sincere fuck you.
Something else.
Correct.
Instead of the giggling immediately after.
You did it. Yeah, you
but she loves Israel.
Yeah, she loves Israel more. And he said he loves her. Like he doesn't like, and he also, we'll play a clip. It's problematic because he said that nobody visited the White House more to lobby him in the last year than Miriam Adelson. So an American who doesn't love America more than Israel and also is the richest donor is lobbying Trump more than anyone, and Trump likes it and seems to like. It's like she touched his pee-pee for the first time, you know? He's got that that little like the little giggle, you know, like where you're just like, woo, your little stomach butterflies, and it's like, but buddy, you're talking about someone with foreign allegiance, giving you money to influence you in your mind, and you're talking about bashfully like it's cute.